Hey guys, this is Connor O'Flynn with Diazoc Waterloo. I just wanted to go over a couple of the ways that you can minimize the strains and stresses that go along with sitting and with desk work. Some of the things that I commonly have to correct in the clinic. I'm not going to address any of the extremely obvious issues like slouching. I'm just assuming most people know that slouching and completely becoming a marshmallow in your chair is not an appropriate way to do something for 8 hours a day for the rest of your career. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that, some of the more specific things that I see daily. So first of all, you'd have to get you into as neutral a position as possible to make the workday a bit more sustainable. And what I mean by neutral position, obviously, shoulders have to be as close to neutral in line with the body as possible, not caving in all day. That caving in is just going to translate down to your lower back, into your rotator cuff, and up into your neck as well. So, I mean, just going to cause a myriad of issues that are really not worth it. And to go along with that, also head position. If I take you inside here, so if I'm working at my desk, typing away, and I'm getting dragged into the computer forward like that, it's going to put severe strain for sure on my cervical spine, and it's going to end up in the suboccipital area, and we're going to see a lot of headaches and other issues that come about because of that, as well as premature aging of the cervical spine itself, which obviously not a good idea. The other thing that I commonly see, I'm going to get the lumbar shot there. Most people know that slouching and folding down in the chair is not a good idea, but people will often overcorrect this position, and they go completely into an overextended anterior tilt kind of situation, which looks like this, where I'm really folding my pelvis forward. That, of course, is just as bad as the slouch for a number of reasons, and it can translate over to your standing, to your exercise pretty quickly. First thing you're going to see there is some anterior hip impingement issues. You're going to get chronically tight hamstrings. You're going to get completely dormant glutes and completely dormant transverse abdominis, those kinds of things. And we're also going to see a lot more compression on the lumbar spine and the lumbar erectors just staying tight all day. So just pretty well every common complaint that goes along with low back pain is caused by that overarching, overcorrecting into extension. So again, we have to get you as close to neutral as possible. And I will use the overextended position at the pelvis to find neutral. So the easiest way to reference what neutral pelvis looks like is to take yourself into full end range where you're overextending your low back, and then pull back a couple of degrees. And in pulling back from that overextended position, I'm going to get some core activity, and I'm going to have a relatively neutral lumbar spine. Instead of caved into slouching, or instead of overextended, I have a pretty natural curvature. A lot of people don't like this position because it forces them to use their core a little bit. It's more of an active position than what I think of as a passive position, where you're just kind of relying on passive tissues and leaning on your vertebrae and things like that are obviously not sustainable. So those are the big issues that I see with sitting. You can have an ergo assessment done. You can have the best office chair and the best desk setup and the works and a massager and lumbar support and all those things, but at the end of the day, the more time you spend sitting, the more issues you're going to have, the more musculoskeletal issues you're going to have, probably the more pain you're going to have moving forward. So whenever you have an excuse to get up or move around, take it. If you don't have an excuse, try to find some. If that's still not an option, do as Dr. Stuart McGill says and try to fidget whenever possible. Move those hips around, move the pelvis around, change your position quite often to make sure things don't lock up in one position. And advocate for yourself. Try to get a standing workstation or a sit-stand workstation, or find a different position to sit in at work that's a bit more comfortable, that minimizes strain on your back. But again, you're going to have to switch up regularly. And when you leave work, make sure that you're not doing the same thing at home. don't fall down into the couch and stay there all night. Make sure that you're still moving, you're still standing. Walk around a little bit, try to correct that spinal position as you're moving to kind of undo the imbalances that you're creating through the day. And I'll post more about that in an upcoming video. But the most important thing is just to reduce your time in that position. When you're in that position, reduce the strain it's going to put on your body by keeping your spine as neutral as possible. So I'll talk a bit more about how that affects exercise and squats and your standing position a little bit later. But for now, you can get working on those positions.